All right, we are back again. Welcome back to Prop Talk, PMG Property Master. Right, that's it.
Property Masters podcast.
Yeah, that's it. I know what I'm doing here. With Mikey Trudel, as usual, Chris Call, and today is exciting. Okay, because on a number of levels, and I know I'm not supposed to do this because we don't know when this is going to air.
I did it the last episode too.
But
three months ago.
today the day that we're recording this is the day of the MacGuffin Awards, and we're all in a tizzy about it because it's going to be fantastic. And one of the great things about it is that we have guests, property masters coming from all over the world, and we have two of them with us today from Budapest, Hungary. And hopefully I won't butcher your names because that's what I do. But we have Balazs Kovacs.
Correct.
That's all right. Yep. Nice. And Andras, Szabo.
Sounds good.
Very nice. Good enough for an American. And so we're really excited to have you guys in town. So welcome to America.
Thank you for having us.
Now, is this your first time in America?
I've been twice.
Okay.
Well, this is the third time.
Third time.
But first time in Los Angeles.
First time in Los Angeles. Nice. And Andras?
First time in America, first time in Los Angeles.
Oh,
very
welcome,
nice.
welcome.
And you guys got to experience an earthquake.
Oh, yeah.
Which was fascinating, right?
We were pretty close, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Because where were you staying?
We're staying at San Pedro. We're hosted by Alan Freund.
And
we experienced the earthquake just in her kitchen.
Nice. just enough to know that, okay, this could, and then it stopped. So, right? Yeah. That was good. That's good. That's a nice little taste of an earthquake. You don't want any more than that.
No.
Definitely not. So, you were going to say something, Mikey?
No,
no.
Yeah, I just want to point out that the reason that you guys are here also, we talked about the MacGuffin Awards, and we don't know the results yet because it is the morning of, and I know this episode is coming out probably in like January or something.
Something like that, exactly.
Yeah, something like that. But
stockpiling.
But yeah, Chris is you are a nominee.
Yes.
And Balazs is also a nominee, which is what you're in town for, right?
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw it out there. If you don't know, because you probably don't know, because people don't know property masters of shows. And that's kind of what we're here about.
We're changing that.
We're changing that. But you were the property master on Poor Things. And I have to say, I voted for you. I'm just saying. That was such a fantastic movie. I spent my whole time in that movie just wishing I was you. Because it was so... Your guys' work on that movie was incredible.
It was fabulous to work on, yeah.
Yes, and you've never worked for Jorgis before, no?
Never worked. This was the first time.
So I'm just going to jump right into Poor Things.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
So,
we can go to the origin story later.
Yeah, we'll go to the origin story for
excited.
sure because I really want to know exactly about how you got in and all that. But so how did this film come about for you?
Well, when I heard that it's coming to town, I called the Hungarian production.
Right.
Where I can be the one to actually can work with Jorgos, and they were looking for locals, so It was a good opportunity to actually work with him. So I got the job.
Yeah.
So I was really happy, and I didn't really know how big it's gonna be.
Right.
So
it was a massive production, right?
It's a massive production with a lot of things to make, actually, to create everything from scratch. So it was beautiful.
That's fantastic. What did you think the first time you read the script?
Well, I couldn't really imagine the sets at that time and the props, even though they were mentioned in the script, but what it's going to be. So it was a long process to actually find out how they're going to look. And we worked really close with Shona and James, the production designers, to find out this stuff. It was big.
And how much prep did they give you on that?
How much
preparation time?
Preparation, we had about 1.5 months, 2 months. It wasn't much.
No, not much at all.
Insane.
So that's why I had actually 3 show and tells during the show because we couldn't really manage to finish all the stuff by the time we started.
Was it hard to pull them away while in the middle of shooting to be able to do a show and tell?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wasn't on set actually, so I had the time to prepare, but all the way long we had to build everything.
Right. Yeah, well, exactly. I would imagine you would have to, because that's not a lot of prep time. And that's unfortunate too, because it would have been nicer if you could have been closer to set and involved in it all. But I know what that's like. You're just like keeping the ball going.
Yeah. How did you, like, because you said that you found out it was coming to town and then you pursued it. Is that what you do for most jobs that you obtain?
Yeah. It always starts with rumors.
Yeah.
And we try to find out whether it's true or not, and we try to manage to get close to enough to get a job.
Right. Yeah. And you mentioned that so there's like a film commission in Hungary, and they're very helpful with that.
Yeah.
Right. Because
film commission. What do you mean?
Well, the government. I mean, when you first heard about it, you heard about it through.
Yeah. The productions like. There are several service productions, like huge one, Mid-Atlantic and Pioneer. They bring in all these huge movies to Hungary.
I see.
And I have a good connection with people in both both productions. So I hear mostly from them.
Right.
Do they have like emails and contacts for you to reach out and stuff too?
Yeah.
Sure. That's helpful.
That's helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are there a lot of studios?
Yeah, they're actually building one now, but we had a few in the past 10 years. They built a few, which are not huge compared to Paramount and the US studios, but they're pretty good.
And I understand that most of this film was shot on stage, right?
Yeah, I mean the full film shot on stage. Yeah. Stage and backlot in the studio. And
so they were obviously building a lot before you came on board, right?
Well, yeah. They started to, I don't really remember, but yeah, they started to build some of them. Yeah.
Sure. And
it was really tight for the construction people as well.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, because I read that the sets were massive.
Massive,
like
amazing.
Took 45 minutes to walk through one end to the other.
Correct. Yeah, that was Lisbon. One of the biggest studios were almost fully built in, like with 4-story buildings. So yeah, it's huge.
That's amazing. And so were there any prop designs or anything like that in the works before you came on board? Because
no, I had to start.
Wow.
From scratch. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that a lot of the surgical instruments. I read that they brought this mortician in to work with. With everybody, and
the biggest scene for us was the surgery.
Right, with Rami.
Yeah, and no, actually with Baxter surgery in house.
Yeah.
The resurrection happens, and we had to build the tables, the machine that gives life to her. So, and all the instruments, and we had to build everything.
And you were working with the production designer on the look of all that?
Yes, sure. I mean, I had this very good graphic artist who tried to draw everything what we come up with and what were in our mind, and then we went to James and Shona, and they put the details on it, and we could work together to actually make it happen. Yeah.
Oh.
And who since it was a heavy manufacture show and you had to build everything from scratch, who was the person to build these designs after you were finished with it? Like, did you do that all in Budapest or did you outsource?
We did it all in Budapest. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All in house? Like you have prop makers?
No, actually, we had to. I mean, we have a few companies are making props in Budapest, so I had them too.
Yeah,
to our producers.
Shout them out. Who are they?
One of them, actually, by the time I started a company, model making company, so we made a lot of them.
Cool.
The Balazs, Lab 120. That's called the prop making studio, and the other one was Epic Creation.
Epic Creations.
They also made
sweet name.
They also made a huge maquettes like the bridge.
Yeah.
And what was it? the maquettes.
Yeah.
So those were huge. And also I had a prop factory.
Yeah.
Working for us. So these people.
Yeah.
Right. And Andras, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Andras. Thank you. Andras. Thank you. So have you guys worked together before?
We have, yes. We worked on 2 seasons of The Alienist that was shot in Budapest, and we were both assisting for Alan Freund.
Nice. Excellent. And so when you came onto this, were you the one who was on set? Running the set?
No, we were not on set. We had our on-set guys and girls as well. We were mostly prepping and pursuing builds, sourcing, running buyers, taking care of background, all this kind of thing that you do as an assistant.
It also was a huge show. Actually, for props and set deck as well. Yeah.
The Alienist.
We had a huge prop department, I think like almost 20
Holy crap.
people for the second season.
Yeah.
A number of different locations, multiple units shooting at the same time. It was a difficult show to pull off. And all 19th century, so it was historic. Everything had to be needed to be very accurate to the age. That was very important for the prop master.
Right.
And it was a big job, both seasons to do there.
How many episodes per season? Do you remember?
I think 8. I'm not
10. I think
10.
It was 10.
10 episodes.
Yeah, on IMDb right now. Looks like at least the second one was 10. Yeah.
So 10.
It was some time ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's much more challenging to do series than film, right?
Oh,
yeah.
In a number of ways it is. Yeah.
I mean, because especially now that the quality and what they expect is so much more than it ever used to be. Now we have less time and less money. Go. Now go.
The pace is usually insane.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And there are always a lot of changes as the showrunners and all the creatives are weighing in. So yeah, it's sometimes pretty hard to keep up.
Yeah. And you've had some great mentors in your life, right?
I did. I have. So I'd like to mention here Alan Freund, as I have before.
Fantastic.
I've learned a lot from her. Also, I had the incredible luck to do 3 features movies assisting Doug Harlocker.
Wow. All
3 of those were shot in Budapest. And
do you remember what 3 they were?
We did the new Blade Runner movie in 2017.
Oh, that movie.
If you remember that movie.
That little thing.
And then Dune, the two Dune movies.
Wow, those are pretty good films. So, how did you get into props, and when did you get into props?
So I started a set deck.
Okay.
First.
Yeah, a lot of us do.
Actually, what happened is that I was looking for a job at that time of my life, and I answered a Facebook advertisement.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
My boss of that time was looking for a storeman, and I had no idea what a storeman is, but it was movies, and I thought, why not? Let's take a look.
Give it a go.
Let's see. And I went to this interview, and it was clear from the very beginning that I'm not a storeman.
Okay. And what is a storeman? Because we don't have those here.
Well, somebody who just runs the set deck and props lockup,
inventory.
Inventory.
Right.
It's we have our own terminology.
Yes.
Which comes from the fact that in Hungary is a very international scene.
Right.
And all these people from different countries coming there and bringing their own
style,
own language, own system, and then it becomes a mixture, a hybrid of everything.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say because like when we were talking, like you describe a lot of the shows you're talking about, a lot of the American system, but then like you talk about the UK system too, and I'm noticing that coming in.
Yeah, I was going to see that. I saw that we're you have done get credits where you're a prop master, but then also standby props. What's the difference between the two? Is there a difference?
The Hungarian system is, we used to work under the set decorators hand, so there was no really prop master.
Like the UK.
Those days,
right.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a separate thing being on set. So we didn't deal with the preparation. We were just we just joined the movie whenever it started to shoot, actually. So, but then when all the foreign productions start to come in, that's when we start to have like prop masters. In a way, I think we mostly work in Americanish system, maybe. So, yeah.
And do you think that that's because a lot of the prop masters that were coming in were American? Is that?
Yeah, I think so. That's one thing, and also because in Borges we had a British guy, Philip Murphy, who worked who was the prop master, but he actually did something like American system too. Yeah. Even though he was British, but I don't know whether it was because of it was a series. So then he had time to actually prepare all the props and have the mix.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's why it's a mixture.
Every show is different.
It's all different.
Interesting.
Yeah. How about Poor Things? Was that what system was that? The Budapest system.
Non-British, non-American.
Yeah,
it's more Hungarian. Yeah, because the set decorator Zsuzsa, who won the Oscar as well, she works really in Hungarian system. That means we work separately.
Yeah,
interesting.
So it's a bit like American system, but still Hungarian. It's very Hungarian.
Yeah.
So,
well, whatever it did, it earned you a MacGuffin nomination.
So and you should have gotten an Oscar, but one day, my friend, one day. Yeah. So let's jump back into Poor Things. So a lot of it was black and white. Mm-hmm. So what were your challenges as far as like creating props, to fit a black and white mode? I mean, was that something that was determined up front, or is that something that happened more in the edit?
Do you know? Happened up front. They actually shot it on black and white film.
Oh, cool.
So
nice.
Yeah, it was interesting because most of the sets we've seen on the end of the movie in color. So it wasn't really a problem. But there was one set which was Balazs room. Which we've seen only in black and white, but we spent weeks to, especially construction and set deck, to find out what color they can use and how they're gonna match it, or the carpet wall, which was green, what you probably never seen.
Right, exactly.
They spent weeks to find out the colors, and then it turned out it's black and white. So.
Well, so that also makes a difference, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so the shades and
absolutely. Wow, that's fantastic. One of the things there were a lot of bizarre animals.
Oh yeah.
So I read that they would use like the bottom half of a real animal, and then they
VFX.
VFX the top half. Yeah. So were you responsible for getting animals?
No, then another different thing in Hungary. That's mainly production handling the animal handlers. So
that's
I
good.
didn't. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot to do. A lot of things.
We could tell.
Chasing ducks around.
I was happy that I don't have to deal with.
Yeah.
It used to be set decorators on plate, the animals.
Right.
But nowadays it's completely separate.
Yeah.
Mainly production.
It's kind of turning that way here too. I think it's
absolutely.
Right?
The show I'm on now, their production took over animals. I'm like, all right. I guess so.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I don't want it.
Exactly. Anyway, so what's your origin story? Balazs. I mean, how did you get involved in props in the film industry at all?
Well, I studied accommodation and service actually, so I wasn't really close to film industry. But on the other hand, my father worked as a construction coordinator, because I use the phrase construction manager, but construction coordinator.
In film industry.
In film industry,
nice.
yeah.
Okay.
But film industry was, I don't know. It had a really bad picture in my head because at the time my father worked as a construction coordinator. Wasn't really much movies. It was like before 2005. So sometimes he spent like half a year or 8 months home, which was really depressing. On the other hand, when he was working, I've never seen him.
Right.
So all the time he was working. So this contrast.
Yes.
I thought it's just too heavy for me.
Sure. That's why my kids aren't in the business. For sure.
So and then in 2005, he called me actually that there's a small group going to Morocco to shoot a film, 10 Commandments. It was a Hallmark movie.
Right.
Okay.
And whether I want to join them because they don't have too many person to send. So I joined them. So that was my first movie in Morocco. We spent 3.5 months in Morocco.
And what were you doing? Were you doing construction?
No, I was special effects.
Special effects. Wow, nice.
So yeah, I was involved in preparation, even though I couldn't weld. I have no experience in that. But after that, on shooting, I was on set with huge smoke machines and fans and stuff. So and smoke and dust. So yeah, it was big. Yeah. In the desert. So
in the desert, nice. And so that spoke to you somehow, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but I knew that I don't really want to be a special effect guy. For me, it was, I don't know, it's too exhausting. Maybe over the desert and the smoke machines. But when I came home, my second movie was Munich, in the Spielberg movie.
Wow.
And then I worked alongside Mickey Pugh. He was on set, and I was swinging. Swinging, yeah. Uh-huh. But then I saw that movie can be like that, and it's fascinating. So
like it could actually be fun.
actually be fun. So that's when I decided to join prop department actually.
And what spoke to you about props as opposed to set dressing?
For me, is more about details, make cool stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Set deck it's huge for me to handle all this furnitures and stuff. But props it's very compact and
right. Exactly. You get to be more creative.
More creative, right. And deal with all the details and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
More precision.
More precision. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And again, I mean, obviously in Poor Things you had a lot of that.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah.
What was like your favorite props that you had to do in Poor Things?
There were many actually.
I'm sure.
But Godbuster had that digestion machine next to him whenever he was eating.
Yes.
That was a nice one because in the script that's what it said. Digestive machine that keep him alive. Okay, but what is that?
Yeah, right. That's the fun part.
That's when we started to find out how it looks. So we used actually a breathing machine from the 40s or 50s. That was the base of it, and that's what we built up the whole thing.
Nice.
So we had So what would be that? Some kind of liquid going in somewhere that it mixes together and then goes into his body.
Right.
And that's why it looks like a stomach.
Right.
Yeah.
And was that all practical liquid?
All practical. It was actually dripping all the time. There was a small fan in there that was twisting. I don't know how much you see in the movie, not much probably, but it's twisting the liquid.
Yeah.
So yes, but we always have to deal with because there was no. So everything was collected in the stomach. So ever since we have to drain it a bit. Yeah.
How was Defoe with that?
He liked the look of it. He really didn't have to deal with much with that. He had only like a lock and the tube what he had to attach. That was only what we had to play with.
I'm sure
he was, make it simple.
He was like poked and prodded and wearing crap all over. Yeah, that's what
4 hours a day.
I'm sure he was dealing with a bunch of other stuff that he had to deal with.
Yeah, the application was 4 hours coming in and 2 hours going out every day.
That's insane. One thing that jumped out at me, I think I liked, was that towards the end, the breathing machine, like the glass lung that was just like impressed it in, and it was like going in. That looked really cool. How did you come up with the design and push for that?
We had references about like, I don't know what's the name of it in English, but metal lung.
Oh, the iron lung. Iron lung. Yeah.
And it's something similar body part.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. And also the other one, I think the machine we changed was not a birthing machine, but something like that, like a blood circulator or something.
Oh, right.
So that's what we worked on.
Yeah.
And we put a big pump on it.
Where'd you find all these parts?
Internet is our friend. So
and then
eBay's a wonderful
did special effects help you get them working and all that?
Nope.
No,
it was all us. Yeah.
Wow.
We actually once we got involved with a P rig, which was controlled, radio controlled, because Yorgos wanted to shoot a scene when Bella, when they arrive home, Baxter and Rafa,
right,
and she pisses on the floor actually,
right.
And he wanted to shoot in one shot from the corner, so we had to control the P rig, but finally didn't work out, unfortunately. So they had a cut, but we dealt with everything pretty much. Yeah,
really,
remote control
stuff. Yeah. It was more like a special effect thing, but we tried to make it.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, and how was Yorgos to work with? He seems like a decent guy, right?
Yeah, he's nice. He was very into the movie, and because. They had with Emma. They had their own language, and they spent most of the time together, pretty much. So, by the time the show started to shoot, they were all together.
Right.
So I couldn't really reach out to him. So
I see.
Just only those two moments when I had two other show and tell.
Yeah.
So I had to pull him aside because other than that, he was really into it.
Yeah, those were your moments.
Yeah,
right?
those are
the
moments. Yeah. Most of the time they shoot without anybody on set. That means no cameraman. I mean, the cameraman was in, but no sound.
Right.
No one.
Wow.
No prop man, nothing.
They just wire them and then let them. Everybody would leave.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's intimate.
Yeah, that's intimate. Yeah, Yorgos was in there and the actors, but pretty much no one else. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That is crazy.
I have a photo when everybody's sitting outside.
Right. Do you have monitors?
We had monitors waiting on their moments, but yeah.
When and they spend the time if you have a reset, you just have to jump in.
Jump in and yeah.
Wow.
You don't really know what happened.
Yeah. Right.
What to reset and yeah.
Right, you have to jump in. So are they pretty patient with stuff like that, resets, or I mean?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Because I know, like in Hollywood,
it could be. Yeah.
They don't wait for props, or they don't want to. But so that's good. What are the other films that you've done that you're like really proud of?
Well, I was like, because I don't know whether we've made really big movies, but they're all were very decent and nice and good to watch actually. So I spent 6 years with a prop master called Derek Blake, and he got really good shows. I was on set with him.
Right.
I was on set. So like Spy, I really like to work on Spy.
Oh,
with Melissa
like
McCarthy.
A lot of
fun. Big names on set. So this was really nice. Summertime, good weather. Yeah, it was good, and everything was just there.
And do you do a lot of exteriors in Budapest, or is it
a lot of
exteriors?
Studio? I mean, Budapest is special because it can play like Paris or Italy, or or architecture could sell pretty much anything. Even in Alienist, even New York.
So, yeah, that's fantastic.
So we shot a lot on location.
It was easier to shoot New York in Budapest because the city is not as built in.
Sure, exactly. There's a lot of reasons.
Real New York is.
Yeah, New York's hard to shoot in for sure.
Do you guys do a lot of I've heard a lot recently that you guys have been getting a lot of like music videos and stuff shooting out there. Have you guys heard of a lot of music videos and stuff?
Not really for us.
Not really for us. Yeah.
For you personally.
For personally,
there's a big scene for commercials as well, and music videos too.
And those are all like different crews that.
Pretty much they are.
Right?
Pretty much.
That's here. And I mean, how much crew is there now? I mean, it's kind of blown up, right?
It's hard to compare. It's probably just a fraction of what you have here in Los Angeles. Sure. So. Because of that, for us, it's easier to get on big jobs like this. This is a good luck for us. But also, on the other hand, sometimes it's very hard to find appropriate crew in between.
Yeah. That's true. So how many shows are happening at one time, do you think, at any given time?
I think Budapest could accommodate 3 or 4 major shows and a few smaller ones running simultaneously. And it's what the threshold, what sets the amount of work that can be done is the facilities available. There are more and more coming, more and more being built, but it's a progress, and also crew, what limits the amount of shows that can be done.
And do all the crew there that's now, do you guys communicate together with each other at all? I mean, is it a
absolutely
tight community?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a tight community. We don't have unions like PMG, but yes, we need to cooperate because that's the way to do it.
Sure. Really. So you mentioned there's no union in Hungary. So how do you guys negotiate rates and stuff? I mean, is that all individual, or is there a
so there is a Hungarian production company or service company for international productions, and we are formally hired by this company.
I see.
And it's there where we need to negotiate our deals, and that's what we do.
Right.
So you guys got to kind of just fall in what their standard is, pretty much.
Yes, there's a little bit of wiggle room, of course, and of course, with the more experience you have, the more wiggle room you have.
Right.
But yes,
are there tiers or anything like that? Different levels of more experienced people? I mean,
I'd like to think yes. I'd like to think yes. You mentioned music videos and commercials.
Sure.
I would think I would like to say that they are somewhat lower tiers, and features and international TV shows are higher.
Yeah.
And also there are a number of Hungarian productions being shot better and better. We won an Oscar for foreign. Feature is I think that's your category in 2017 for Son of Soul,
right? Nice.
Which was a completely Hungarian production. By the way, Balazs just finished a job with the same director.
László Nemes. Yep.
Cool.
And the latest trend is that there are more and more good quality Hungarian productions, and the higher tier movie people tend to shift to those productions recently more and more, which is I think is a very nice trend.
And what's the education opportunities for being in the business and learning the trade?
It's rather limited. We have an amazing theatrical university in Hungary, but they are mostly
stage,
not stage, and also directors,
right?
Like the higher echelons,
like here.
Not so much the more practical.
Right.
You're not going to go to a school out there and find out how to do props specifically.
No. Unfortunately, not. That's something that you need to learn.
We're in the same boat here.
Yeah. Oh. That's what, so I have a question with let's say Ellen comes out and then hires the whole Budapest crew. Of that, how many actually speak English?
Oh,
from like an English-speaking production,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, language is always a factor for international productions, obviously, and it depends on for what position we are talking about. For an assistant or a prop master or an on-set props, as we call your set assistants, English is inevitable. You need to speak English. It doesn't work. You cannot work it if you don't.
Sure.
For other positions, more manufacturing,
lower in the chain,
not necessarily.
Yeah. Right. Have an interpreter.
But English is quite common in Hungary.
Right.
It's taught
they teach it in school. Yes.
In elementary schools.
Great.
So most of the population speaks at least a little bit.
Right. Yeah, we don't do that here so much.
I wish we did.
I know, it's awful.
It's like, what is it now? Like, I think there's more Spanish speakers in California than there's English speakers.
Right. Yeah, yet they don't teach it in school. Right. Right.
Also,
well, it's difficult.
Yeah.
You need to take into consideration that everything is happening there in that country.
Right.
And
exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's true about anywhere.
Yeah.
Even shooting, in different parts of this country, you have to be very cognizant of where you are and who you're working with and, be respectful at the very least.
Yeah. Kentucky's not Los Angeles. Or
no, I mean, I shot in Louisiana, like in the bayous of Louisiana, and I mean, some of the best people I've ever met or worked with, and just, and again, they know their country and they know their state or whatever. So it's a great resource. And
because you don't know the resources there, but then you guys live it. Yeah.
Well, we live in, but those foreign filmmakers who come to Hungary, they have different expectations. They think about Hungary as a remote Eastern European land where the goats are headed through the city every morning.
Right.
And then they come to us and get surprised.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we are able to show them that we are professionals.
Yeah, there's not as many goats as you think.
And more really cutting edge facilities are being established in Hungary.
Yep.
The background service is also progressing, I think, really nicely. In terms of renting equipment like cameras and lighting and stuff like that, it's you can get anything you want. Like it's I'm certain that it's almost the same choice what you would have here in Los Angeles, but of course it's a progress to get this kind of quality and choice in every part of movie making.
Sure. Well, I mean, again, that's true for anywhere. Even, there's LA and New York, which are highly established, but everywhere else in this country now, they're all creating these hubs as well, and with all the resources that you need. It's part of the reason why a lot of the work is leaving Los Angeles now, much to our chagrin. But again, you can't say anymore that, if you leave LA, you're not going to have such high quality workers or high quality equipment. That's just not true anymore in any way.
That's not true.
So, I mean, and I'm hoping that you're finding that as time goes on, that people are coming in and they have better expectations from you than
I think they do. And also it works the other way around. They are bringing in the knowledge, that we are keen to absorb and this is what happens.
This is how you learn, So
this is how we learn.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, please, you've had the best mentors you could possibly have.
And from what it sounds like, you personally, it sounds like you've earned your worth because Ellen has taken you out of Budapest on other jobs around the world, right?
She did.
So talk more about that and how that works. Like,
Yeah, so we established this good work relationship, and also a very good personal relationship too.
Yeah,
and when she got this job, Pachinko of Apple TV show, she was looking for an assistant, and she found that in me.
Yeah.
Actually. So we did. I don't know, 3 or 4 months in core shooting of Korea in Korea, all around the country.
Yeah,
a lot of traveling. We've been shooting all around the place, everywhere, all the major cities, and in the countryside as well. And then a couple of months in Vancouver.
Well,
after that.
So, do you personally have a desire to be a prop master?
Yes and no.
Why no?
It's hard to say. I have to say that my happiest days in the industry was when I was a PA. You know, like, because
the least amount of responsibility.
Exactly. You can be everywhere.
Sure.
You get involved with everything. You see everything. And you don't have such a big responsibility.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when you step up, you become an assistant, and then you've got more responsibilities. Yeah. And becoming a prop master is, a leap that I'm not rushing to make. I've done a few jobs, smaller jobs as prop master before, but I'm not very keen on stepping up too quick.
Sure.
I would rather like to learn,
Yeah, trial by fire.
I'm pushing to the
exactly. Balazs is just the opposite.
I was gonna say Balazs like, I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, because there's the whole, the bookkeeping side of it, all, budgeting and all of that, which is,
What I find the most challenging as a prop master is the politics. To sell your props, to find those, to get access to the director, to be able to communicate properly and in an efficient manner.
To manage people.
To manage people, yeah. For me,
the hardest part.
For to manage people above me, that's the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to learn in that respect for me. So you hardly can avoid it, really. Like, I need to work hard. As crazy as it sounds, but they're trying to push a lot of responsibility on you, and I'm not the ideal
So basically,
person.
what we're saying is that in Budapest, there is a large push to hire locally.
Exactly.
Okay, so you guys they're asking you to step up sooner than you might want to, but it seems like you guys are being able to handle it very
and you've built the resume for it that they'll look at it and be like, oh, he can do it.
I mean, because we've all done that. Because again, there are no universities for props. So we've all, depending on where we came up, we all had to work, learn by, doing it. That was, and so it's obvious. I mean, I'm sure you've all worked with people, even in Hungary, where they just don't cut it. Okay, they're just not meant to be in the film industry. And I just think that you have to have a certain DNA to do it. And once you find it, then sky's the limit, because it's part of your personality to want to learn and to know. And I'm getting the sense that your work ethic is strong, and that's what makes the difference. Okay, we find that out in Los Angeles a lot, where there are people who are just like they're all starry-eyed about being in the film industry, but then when it comes down to actually doing it, a lot of people can't cut it, and that's really the dividing line.
Yeah, you mentioned work ethic. That's crucial. I think in Hungary, that's very important. People feel privileged to be able to work in this field, and once they are there, they are making the most possible, to step up.
And again, I mean, might be a controversial thing to say, but I think that's a huge part of why a lot of work is leaving the States. Okay, because I think that there is that hunger and that appreciation for being able to do this where a lot of times, especially in Hollywood, people get complacent. They want more for their kit and better pay, but they don't necessarily want. They're not as passionate. I'm not saying everybody, because most of us are, but I think there's that underlying current of it, and I think it comes from being unionized is part of it. It's a double-edged sword. We get a lot for being in the union, but it also makes us more demanding of things in a lot of productions, a lot of studios. You're like, maybe I don't have to deal with that. Maybe we could go somewhere else and people are more hungry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hoping that the PMG and stuff like that, especially accepting people from like Europe and all over Europe and your markets too, and gets us talking, because we don't, the only much you guys have probably talked to is people that come and visit do your shows. So you guys can see like what on our side and what we're asking for and doing, and hopefully eventually be able to raise your worth and what your guys' payments and your rentals and stuff like that is more on par with us, because you have the experience now. You guys are worth it. You know what I mean?
100%.
So hopefully
it's not only the payment or the rent. It's not the. For me, it's not the money part, which is important when I think about unions, but more about being there for the other one. When you're treated in not a very good way, then you have somebody to step up for you. And,
absolutely.
And that's something we don't have at home, unfortunately, in Hungary. So I think that's another reason why in the prop industry we're trying to be as close to each other as possible to help out.
So do you feel like that is something that's happening or is needed in Hungary? Is an advocate for film workers? Do you feel like you get abused in any way, or or just taken advantage of?
I wouldn't say we are getting abused. I would say that our life could be easier, if there was more cooperation.
Sure. And as far as like what you make, is it conducive to being able to, deal with the cost of living there? I mean, because again, it's widely different here than it is there, and that's always part of the equation. But do you feel like you can make a decent living with what you're making, or
compared to other segments? Yeah, I think so.
The
film industry still pays more than other parts. Yeah.
I have no reason to complain. Just a comparison for you. When I'm working, and of course we know that it's not a constant thing, but when I'm working, I'm making about as much as a Hungarian career starting lawyer would make, which is pretty high without a degree. So no complaints at all.
No. How did you get into the film industry? What was your path?
Totally by chance, really.
You fell into it?
I fell into it. Again, I was answering a Facebook advertisement. Somebody was looking for
crew.
Looking for crew, and I went to this interview, and I was hired, and it didn't stop since then.
Yeah,
really. Started as a PA. As a set deck PA, and worked myself up from there.
Were you just you're just going through Facebook randomly looking for everything, or
whatever
I could find?
Actually, I wasn't actively looking, but a friend's was posting that I'm looking for somebody to this position in a movie, and I thought that wow, that sounds really nice. I'm going to.
But was that something that you had been in your head before? Like, I might want to be in the film industry.
Not at all.
Not at all. And growing up, were you into movies at all?
I was pretty much into movies. I did enjoy watching movies, but in retrospect, now that I'm dealing with props, in retrospect, there were signs, when I was small. Like my father. An electric engineer had his cabinet of electric curiosities, and I remember spending a lot of time trickling around with all the bits and pieces. And,
So you were a little artistic just with what was lying around and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
How about you? Same thing with you. Is that something that you
I
always thought about?
I mean, having my father work in film industry for 15 years by the time I stepped in, I didn't really think about joining film industry, but I always liked objects.
Sure.
I brought from my grandmother. Wherever she went on the globe, she brought something back.
Some trinket.
And anything small, and I always loved those small bits and pieces. So I'm kind of a collector. I like cameras. So I love objects.
Right.
So that's one part. That's why I choose props. That's the closest to me.
Sure.
So,
yeah, because they're very personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What were you artistic as a child? Do you think?
Some I've never learned, but I love to draw. I love to find out stuff, and I love to draw on paper. That's I really like it.
Yeah.
For free time. Other than that, not much. But nowadays, I started to learn like 3D modeling, and so I really get into it more. So I love it.
Yeah, that's the best part to
conceptualize.
It's my favorite. Yeah, it's definitely my favorite.
that thought process, when someone drops an idea and then
put it on paper
put it on paper, then run it through a number of different people and all the different angles that you need to look at it, practical, artistic, whatnot. Then come up with other plans, then prototypes. We know this process. That's what I personally enjoy the most.
Yeah, and then getting the approvals on it. So.
Oh yeah, and then on the day, throwing the whole thing out.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a minute then, because you mentioned doing so many show and tells on a thing. How does a show and tell work? Like, how do you prepare for it, and what does it look like for you when you're going to go in to do a show and tell?
We lay out everything on tables. I label them, and I go mainly character and chronologically.
Got it.
So and we go through, try to get as much as I could in details.
Sure.
Sometimes it's really hard, especially with
with 6 weeks of prep.
So you have put like stuff that's not ready yet or whatever. You put pictures and concepts.
So we can start a conversation. We can find out what's the path we follow. So yeah.
And with Poor Things, was it like working with him? Was it as simple as him coming and going, yes, no, yes, no, yes, and just run through it, or was it?
The thing, Yorgos really, that's why we had James and Shona.
Right.
So he really relied on them.
Sure.
So he let them find out how it should look.
Right.
And by the time we got to the show and tell, it was pretty much
sure. They had already
there, and he said, okay, he made some changes, some small changes. That it has to be a bit more interesting.
Right.
But he couldn't really explore,
just to make it better.
Just make it a bit something, and that's when we came in and tried to make it more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And how was it working with the actors, with Mark and
Mark? He was such a good. He's such a good man. He very nice and very friendly, and he loved everything. So he was nice.
Emma. No.
Yeah, she was. Emma was. She was really in the character all the time.
Yeah.
So
I think you kind of have to be with that character.
Sometimes it felt like speaking to a child.
Yeah.
which made it difficult and different.
Interesting.
So that was interesting. She was so into it all the time.
Such a great character. She did such a beautiful job. Definitely. So has your phone been blowing up since Poor Things came out? I mean, are you getting a lot of offers?
Not really.
Really?
not just yet.
What the hell's wrong with them?
Did the strikes, I guess that's a good question then too. Did the strikes affect you? Did that like hurt you guys as much as it hurt here?
It hurt, yeah.
It did hurt us big time, but now it feels that it's shifting the other way around.
Right. Things are starting to happen.
The strikes that are looming here I think they are going to push more jobs over the sea.
Yeah,
right.
If you get what I mean, like
we all know what you mean.
100%.
So in this respect, your pain is our gain.
Yeah, I hear you.
You're not wrong.
I'm thinking of emigrating.
Well, you're more than welcome to.
I'll come and work for you guys.
We
Absolutely.
always need good professionals there to learn from and to participate. Really, we are very open, and we'd like to get more of this thing.
Well, you know, I mean, again, it's tough for us to, we've gone through many phases where work has come and work has gone away. We had a whole Canadian exodus of work many years ago, and we rambled back, and it helps to keep us frosty. It's the way I look at it, I mean, and again, there's enough filmmaking out there that I think everybody can work. Okay. And for us, it's hard to watch jobs leave, but at the same time, our legislators and our state needs to do better. Okay, and that's really what it comes down to. So I don't begrudge work going anywhere. I came from a secondary market before I came to LA, and I felt that, people didn't like the fact that everything was being shot in Pittsburgh at the time for New York, but, I just want everybody to work. I think there's enough for everybody to do. I want to touch on, I don't know if you could talk about Modi. Okay, the 3 Days of the Wings of Madness with Johnny Depp directing.
Oh, yeah.
So Johnny Depp directing?
Yeah. Johnny Depp directing.
Are you
the second movie of from him as a director?
Yeah, really?
Can you? How's that?
He's wonderful, isn't he?
He's wonderful. He was fun. It actually.
I've worked with him. He's a blast to be around.
Yeah. And he's very nice. I mean, to people, especially the crew, he was really nice. He always steps by and says something nice to people. So yeah, it was fantastic.
Okay, so and that was all shot in Budapest?
It was shot in Budapest, the whole show. Yeah.
And a lot of stage, mostly stage.
Well, no, we used a lot of So we shot a lot on location. We had a few stage shoots, but mainly interior, like Modi's attic. But we shot a lot on location. That's the streets, the park, Montmartre. Yeah, we shot it.
Right, and was this? How did this project come about for him? Do you know? I mean, did he write it or anything? Or
no, it was Al Pacino's.
Pacino's
dream actually to make this happen, and he wanted to play Modi. Okay. By the time he come up with this script, but when we actually shoot it, he had a collector. He played a collector, so he's showing up in the movie, but just for one scene.
I see.
So, but I think the script was his idea.
I see. Yeah, he's a good guy too.
Yeah.
And I saw that Nicola Pecorini was the DP. I worked with him many, many years ago. I had so much fun with him, and I'm so glad to see that he's still out there.
Yeah, he's a
trip.
He was really friendly with me. We could work together really well. He has a big voice.
Yes.
He's a big man, and so. It was fun. The whole show was fun actually to make it, and Johnny, I think on the second week, came up with an idea which no one believed that it actually gonna happen, but there was a phrase that what Johnny wants, Johnny gets.
I've had that with Quentin Tarantino.
So actually, we changed the script a bit. So
nice.
Became two heads because there's one head which goes around in the whole show, but it became two head at that point.
Was Johnny in it as well, or just directing?
I'm not sure if he's gonna be in that, but there was one as an extra, pretty much.
So not
cameo. Cameo, just a cameo. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, great. So, anything else you got, Mikey?
Yeah. I mean, what I guess we have to talk about what Ellen asked, just to put you guys on the spot, or like, film has been around Hungary for a while now, right? Mm-hmm. So how could you tell about the film industry starting in Hungary and how that grown up and made that a hub in Europe?
Well, it's a long history that I won't.
You can do the Cliff Notes. You don't.
He's got his phone out.
Yeah. You have to know that Hungary has not always been a very good country to live in. So
right.
A lot of Hungarians, as you know,
yes.
have left the country and used their talents elsewhere. Mm-hmm. In the United States, first and foremost. And I'm sure you know Michael Curtis, for example, who directed Casablanca in 1942. Who was a Hungarian-born director, but George Cukor was a son of Hungarian Jewish immigrants. Even though he was born in New York, he founded Paramount Pictures.
Okay,
and then William Fox. I need to mention him, who was born in a tiny, very very rural village in Hungary, you know, behind the God's back, as we say in Hungarian. And then he came here and founded Fox
Studios
film company. And then more recent Hungarian born but American working movie maker is István Szabo, who directed Mephisto. Yeah, that won an Oscar in 1982. And then after the years of socialism, when the country opened up more, there was a big boom of movie making. I need to mention Béla Tar here, who had a very distinct style, a very unique way of movie making. You know, very very long shots. I'm sure you've seen his works. And and one very important person that I need to mention here, important in our life, because he was the guy who changed the Hungarian movie industry to this phase where we are at now. He's called Andy Vajna. Who emigrated from Hungary to the United States in 1944 and produced a number of blockbusters here. Worked a lot with Schwarzenegger. They did Terminator, Judgment Day, Total Recall, one of my favorites, favorite movies, 1990s. And then in the 2010s, he came back to Hungary, kind of a retirement phase in his life, and he came up with this idea that Hungary should invest in movie facilities. Hungary should start building studios. Hungary should invite international production. 2010.
Around 2010.
Early
so
2010s.
More recently, they really
He was the one who implemented this huge tax break that we are getting, and also using the money, the foreign money that came into the country to establish and grow the local Hungarian talents, you know, the local Hungarian movies and movie makers. And I need to mention Nemes Jeles László here, who got an Oscar award for Sons of Soul a few years ago.
Yeah, so it's been big coming up.
Well, that's pretty significant. And I'm glad that there's a resurgence of Hungarian films being made in Hungary too, so that's great. You know,
that's very important.
They had to come here to get started, and then they get to go home, and now you have all these beautiful studios and opportunity. That's great, because I love foreign films. It's just
you guys set the big framework, you know, how the global industry works, and we are trying to implement that in Hungary with our own talent, you know, adding our own voice to this very global industry. And I think we are getting more and more success with that.
Absolutely.
And do you guys have any jobs lined up in the future, or at the moment?
Yeah, there are a few.
There are a few, but I don't like to jinx them.
That's fair.
I'm working for Gary Tours now.
True. I'm working. Yeah. So this Amazon spin-off, Amazon's show, the Terminal List.
Okay. Oh yes.
Its spin-off Terminal List, The Dark Wolf, is being was shot in Hungary for some time, and we are going to go back for some additional photography soon. And Gary Tours is the American prop master there.
Right, yeah.
He's basically the one who provides all the weapons and all the military gags and everything.
Yep.
And then the local crew is more in charge of providing the prop things for the
so he's
the
more
show.
an
armor prop master.
He does both
a
credit.
great guy and has an amazing inventory, and it's very nice to work with him.
Another one that's pretty huge prop master.
You see, like so many. It's a big privilege, you know. We are almost like Alice in Wonderland. Sometimes I feel like that.
And that's I mean, before we go, I do want to ask just real good, like, you've gotten to work with the biggest prop, like you said, Robin Miller you were to work with too?
Yes, Robin. I love Robin. Not too much, unfortunately. We did I did one feature film with him, but that was only partly shot in Hungary, and I've been working in the Hungarian bit only. Unfortunately, it was an Angli action movie. I love Robin. Hello, Robin, if you're listening.
and of course Doug Harlocker, who I think we're going to getting him in the studio in a couple months to do a show. Yeah. We've been trying to get him in here for about a year, but we're
going to have to kidnap
his
him.
Nice beach house out in Martha's Vineyard.
Heard about that.
So, but he's going to be coming into town in a couple months, and he promised he's coming.
Doug is a very demanding prop guy to work with. Like quality is very, very important for him, and also he's great in representing prop department. I think where props in general stands now can be thanked to him, really. in a big way
100%.
to elevate this trade to the level where it is today. I believe.
So what was it like just working on, like, you get to work on Dune and Blade Runner and stuff
amazing.
like that with him. So to step onto those sets and be able to work on those, like, what was that like?
We are talking about huge sets, like
huge,
big builds. The Dune is both movies were I would like to say like 90% was shot in Hungary,
really,
studios and built sets as well, and only just some smaller part in the real desert. And we encountered a lot of talent and a lot of Denis Villeneuve, the director. I think he hates VFX. That's the feeling what I had.
That's a tough show to hate VFX.
Exactly. He wanted to do everything as much as possible, real. You know, which put a lot of strain on every department.
I'll bet.
Props as well.
Yeah.
And another thing I like to mention when we talk about Doug and these two Dune movies and the Blade Runner that I had the amazing luck to be able to work with him on, is that it took some time to build up a trusting work relationship.
Sure.
So the first time we worked together in 2017, it was really limited what he decided that will be manufactured and done in Budapest. He ordered a lot of props from the States, from his usual vendors, to be used in Hungary, understandably, you know, because that's how you feel safe, you know. And then by the time we got to the second episode of Dune, he relied, I would say, a lot on Hungarian manufacturers, prop makers. We've got amazing, not so not so much institutionalized, I think.
Sure.
In not so much formalized, in a not formalized way, but we have a lot of very talented craftsmen.
Right.
You know, like jewelers, leather makers, seamstresses, all these people. Hungary is very, very big on that, and by the time we got to the third movie that he worked on in Budapest, he relied a lot on these people, luckily, or we managed to rely.
Probably like giving a lot little jobs and then start to build up over the movies.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. That's wow.
So it was a journey in itself.
Yeah, no, I mean it's fantastic. I mean, and it's interesting to see the progression and the building of the Hungarian
and compare
film
this
industry.
to.
I mean, it's.
Compare this to Ellen Freund's style, who comes to Budapest empty-handed, just herself, which is a lot, and she builds it up from there.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, that's a skill in itself.
A few weeks goes on, and you have 19th century New York in Budapest. All the props.
There you go.
and you don't got to pay the thousands of dollars for shipping all the time either, which is like they start crate shipping all this stuff.
That's the truth.
Yeah,
it's a brave new world.
Yeah.
And all this in a very accurate manner. Like everything needs to be precisely as it used to be, and
absolutely.
No cheating.
That's what makes the difference. So, well, guys, so happy to have you in the room, and so honored to have you come in. And
thank you for having us.
Thank you for
travel all this
very
way,
exciting.
and we look forward to seeing you tonight.
Big time.
I'll be cheering for you, brother.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming into the coming all the way from Hungary just to do this podcast.
I know, it's incredible.
Man, we've really surfaced.
I don't think anybody will top that travel award.
No. So I think we had Vancouver, we've had Pennsylvania, New York, but you guys win. You guys win until next time. So appreciate it. Good luck tonight. Have a safe trip back. Thank you to Ellen for bringing you guys up.
Thank you. Ellen Freud in the room, even though she's in. We should have had you on mic.
Well, Ellen, I'm glad you weren't on mic because now we can save you for your own show that just highlights you. So Ellen will definitely.
I didn't interrupt too much.
Oh no!
We should have been on mic.
Ellen is going to be. We're going to have an episode just on her soon.
Yeah, fantastic.
Which is going to be awesome. So looking forward to that. But it's gonna be great. So I guess I'll close this. You don't have anything, right?
No. I got to go home and get my tux out.
Oh yeah, we got some preparing to do, and then some drinking tonight and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they're worried they don't have a tux.
Oh no, I'm wearing a suit. Don't worry, I got a black on black suit. I can't afford a tux right now.
Mine's blue.
Thank you everybody out there for tuning into another episode of Prop Talk, the official podcast of the Property Masters Guild, brought to you by Real Working and retired prop masters and associate prop people now. So yay.
Allies.
Yeah, that's right. If this is your first time listening, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment wherever you're hearing or viewing this. We are on YouTube now, so you can watch the full episodes and see all of our beautiful faces.
Some of us.
You look real nice in your collared shirt today, so you can see how he dressed up, did his hair, and all that stuff. Yeah. I look like crap always.
No, that's not true.
If you have any, if you want to know any more information on the Property Masters Guild or have any questions for us here at Prop Talk or suggestions, go to propertymastersguild.org. You can also reach out on Instagram. We're over there @_the PMG. We're on all other socials. Just search the Property Masters Guild. And that is it until next time.
Yeah. Thank you.